Same-sex marriage. Section 3 of the Defence of Marriage Act defined a marriage for purposes of federal law as being between a man and a woman. This was recently challenged in a case before the US Supreme Court, who ruled that this was unconstitutional. The IRS has now issued some guidance on how it's going to interpret that ruling. As far as how is a marriage defined, the IRS is going to recognise any marriage that was valid in the place where you entered into it. So if it was a legal marriage in one of the US states, or if it was a legal marriage overseas, then that would be recognised by the IRS as a marriage for tax purposes, wherever you happen to be living, even if it isn't recognised in the state or the country where you happen to be living. As far as other formal arrangements are concerned, such as domestic partnerships or civil unions, if they're not a marriage where it was carried out, then as far as the IRS is concerned, it's not a marriage. And so for tax purposes you are still single. If we look at what that means for the UK has had civil partnerships now for a number of years, and as far as the IRS is concerned, this isn't going to be a legal marriage. However, from 2014 the UK is going to have same-sex marriages, and those would be recognised by the IRS as being a marriage. So what does this mean for filing returns? Well, the ruling comes into effect on the 16th of September. So from that date, the return that you file is going to have to reflect your filing status for the period in question. So if you were in a legally valid marriage in 2012 and you haven't filed your return yet, if you file after the 16th of September, it's going to have to reflect the fact that you were married, and that probably means that you're going to be filing either married filing separately or married filing jointly. But if you were in a UK civil partnership, for example, well, you're still single. What about returns you've already filed? Well, the IRS is not going to ask you to go back and refile amended returns for those periods. However, it's still open to you to file an amended return if you feel that that would be advantageous to you. The normal statute of limitations will apply, which would generally mean that you can go back and file an amended return for the last 3 years.